Hi everybody, it's Kathy here, and today I'm playing along with the Iron Craft Challenge that Tara O'Rourke, the paper snob here on YouTube, hosts each month. And so today our challenge is to create a layout using sequins. That's our challenge. So I'm going to use these bags of sequins with this photo of myself at Christmas last year. And I'm starting off with a white base, which is pretty unusual for me, but all the go with everybody else, so I'm going to give it a go. I'm using my circle cutter, as you can see here, to set up my layout, and what I'm doing is I'm going to trace around the circle off center, and then I'm going to create like a spiral effect around my layout, for which my sequins will then be layered onto. So I'm just going to use the circle cutter as my stencil to put in my arcs that I want for my spiral, and I'm going to make it go around the whole circle, roughly an inch and a quarter apart. I'm just eyeballing it, of course, I'm not measuring it. This is the beauty with our craft. We don't always have to be exact. Some people like to be, some people like me just eyeball. If you're a perfectionist, by all means take out your compass and measure it and do it as a spiral in exact measurements. But if you're like me, near enough is good enough, and you modify and adapt as you go if the spacing isn't correct. So with this lead pencil, I'm doing it nice and lightly so that I can erase it if I need to, and based on the light, some of them you'll see, some of them you won't, but you can see the general idea that I've created that spiral effect around the circle. I've just realized that my spacing there is not correct, so I'm going to take out some spirals that I've added just to increase my spacing so I can do this correctly so that it looks even around the circle. And that's what you do, and that's why lead pencil is great for that. Alright, so now that I've done all my spirals in, I can start working with my sequins. So I'm going to just pull out a whole handful here, and I think that I'm going to start with my main colours here of silver, green and red and gold. So I'm just going to pull out enough to do a spiral, and I'm just measuring out how many that's going to be roughly for each one. So I'm just pulling out the pieces, and that's the thing with sequins. You need to pull it out. Now you know it's sequins because it has the hole in it, because sequins is used to be sewn onto material, but we're using it on paper. If I was really creative and really in the mood this time round, I would have sewn this on to my layout, but I'm not. I'm just gluing it down because there is so many pieces of sequins that are going onto this layout that you will see shortly. And I'm just making sure that I have enough to go around the spiral to the center of that circle, because that's where my photo is going to sit. So I'm just going to do the four main colors. I'm going to go with the silver, then the green, then the red and the gold, and from there I'm going to build right around so that each part of my spiral has a different color and the color scheme is balanced across. So here you can see that I roughly have about 11 sequins per spiral, and that has now set up the basis from which I'm going to build the rest of my base. Just put these last bits away, and off screen I have glued them into place, and you can see here how I've done it because I kept the gold to show you. And all I've done is I've placed the dots along the spiral, and there's more dots than sequins so that they're roughly sitting 2 dots of glue per sequins, and that will hold it in place firmly so that it won't move once it dries. And I am using tacky glue because that allows me to manipulate it if I need to before it totally sets within the 24 hours. So I'm now putting in, and as you can see, that's how those spirals are created. What I'm going to do now is I'm also going to go through all of the sequins and select different ones now. And I'm going to build my sequins around. So this one here, I'm going to put in some gold hearts. Instead of just the rounds, I'm going to include Christmas type shapes and cuts of sequins. And as long as they've got the dot in it, they're the sequins. They're not throwaways or cutouts. So these ones are sequins, they've got the dots in them, and you'll see on my layout that all of them, just despite the shape of them, they're sequins because they have the dots still in them. So I've got the hearts there. I'm going to go with some green trees as well, and I'm just using the 4 colours, and in the end I think I throw in white as well to break it up but balance it across the layout. So I've got some snowflakes, I've got some trees, and I'm just building it based on the shapes and the colours so that I can build my spirals out from the centre of my photo, and it keeps with the Christmas theme and builds interest to the layout. So I will continue on with that. As I said, this photo is a Christmas photo. It was taken last year. My daughter and I went into the city at Martin Place, and here you can see all the sequins now in. And I did move those snowflakes around so that I could have the white balanced around, and I put in the others there. So back to this photo. It was taken in the city. It was taken at Martin Place. They had a barn set up in the centre of Martin Place where they were taking Santa photos inside, and outside they had this giant wreath on the barn doors. So I had the photo taken. It was a very hot and very muggy night that night we went. It would have been, it was in November, the end of November. No, it wasn't. I'm telling a story. It was the second week of December. So we'd had rain, and then it was extremely hot, and it was a very muggy night, but it was a great night for my daughter and I. Normally my whole family comes. This year only my daughter and I went, which was a bit sad, but it is how it is when they get older and trying to coordinate with everybody's work schedules. So I've cut the photo into the circle. I backed it once with the red, and then when I put it on the layout, I know that it needs to be lifted just a little bit more, and so off screen I cut a green circle as well to make it pop off that layout. So once I've done that, I've put in the foam tape on the back so that you can see all the different sequins that I've added, all the colours, but they pretty much go round in order of colour, so that I've got a mixture of gold, red, silver, white and green, and that has created my layout spiral. I'm putting down my photo now, and it looks like that those sequins are spiraling out of that wreath, which is what I wanted to do and the intended image for this layout. And I didn't want it to be from edge to edge. I actually wanted it to be off-centered, so it looks like a Catherine wheel in a firework. So that's how I'm doing it. Now, I did cut out these letters. They are a wood grain die that I've just received, and it's going to say best time of the year. And it is a little bit tricky because they are being glued down over those lumpy bumpy sequins, and that's needing that little bit of extra support to get that to stick into place. So I've got best time going across the top, and then you'll see that I contemplate whether I go of the year following the circle around or switch it so that it's up the right way, and in the end I decide that just following the circle is the best way because it makes more sense that it follows around the circle like the dial. And it's going to say, as I said, the best time of the year. And when I'm putting it out, I realise I haven't cut enough letters, and I had to go back and cut another E and another T to make it fit. So once I've done that, see, here's where I think no, and then I realise no. I then went and cut that out and put them into place for you, so it now has the title in. Just to finish it off, I'm using aged mahogany to distress the edges, just to add that final colouring and finishing off of the layout. I'm just adding a little bit of journaling saying where it was and when it was, and there you can see that that is how this has come together with all those pieces of sequins all adhered to the layout. Lots and lots of sequins on there. That was our Iron Crafter Challenge piece this month. And that's how this layout. I hope you find something here inspirational. If you did, give me a thumbs up. It's really appreciated. Don't forget to go down below and check out all the players on this challenge this month. You will find it in my description box, a link to the playlist. Leave us a comment. We love to get back to everybody. Thanks to my subscribers for returning. Happy scrapping. Here's my next video recommendation for you. See you soon.